Welcome. Today, we're going to tackle a skill that goes way, way beyond just memorizing a list of suspicious gestures. We're talking about something deeper, wise discernment, the ability to just see things clearly. And let me be clear, this isn't about turning you into some kind of human lie detector. It's actually about understanding human behavior and maybe most importantly, our own.
Okay, so let's just dive right in with the most important question first. Why? Why are we as a species so incredibly easy to fool sometimes? It's not because we're gullible or foolish. The real answer is actually baked right into our social DNA. Researchers have a name for this. They call it our truth default. See, we are fundamentally wired to believe what people tell us. And just think about it for a second. If you questioned every single thing, from the person at the coffee shop to your coworker to your friend, society would just grind to a halt. This default setting to trust is absolutely crucial for us to cooperate. But it's also a huge vulnerability. So let's really break down this social wiring. Our default to trust, it's super efficient for just getting through the day. But it becomes this massive blind spot in high-stakes situations, when there's money or a relationship or even our safety on the line. And when you look at why this happens, it all starts to make sense. Trust is just efficient, right? It saves us time and a ton of mental energy. Plus, doubting someone, it just feels rude, it feels confrontational, and most of us don't want to be that person. Real skepticism takes work. And if we're being honest, deep down, we want to believe people are who they say they are. It just makes the world feel a whole lot safer and more predictable. And this quote just brilliantly nails the core issue. As the researcher Tim Levine points out, most lies aren't these incredible genius-level masterpieces. Nope, they work because the person listening, who's running on that truth default, simply doesn't suspect and doesn't check. The failure isn't in our ability to spot a lie, it's that we don't even think to verify in the first place. Okay, so let's move on, because this is where most of us get it totally wrong. We go hunting for that single magic tell that's going to expose the lie. But you know what? Searching for that one giveaway is a deeply, deeply flawed strategy. Come on, we've all heard these, right? Liars can't look you in the eye. Or, oh, they're fidgeting, that's a sure sign of a lie. Movies and TV shows are just full of these ideas. But here's the truth. They're incredibly unreliable. Relying on them will lead you to accuse a lot of innocent people. And Pamela Meyer just sums this up perfectly. Behavior isn't a lie detector. It's a stress detector, a personality detector, a culture detector, and sometimes even a trauma detector. So if you mistake anxiety for deception, you're going to end up pointing the finger at honest, nervous people and completely miss the cool, calm, practiced liar. So let's make this crystal clear. The things most of us look for, nervousness, lack of eye contact, fidgeting, even those famous micro-expressions, they're all pretty weak indicators on their own. What the research actually shows is that it's far more reliable to focus on the content of what's being said. Are there inconsistencies in the story? Does the story change a little bit every time it's told? Are they dodging your questions? That's where you'll find the real red flags. All right, so if we can't rely on body language, what do we do? This brings us to the really practical part of all this. These are skills that anyone, and I mean anyone, can develop to bring a little more clarity into a murky situation without having to become paranoid. Here's a simple but really powerful process. First, stop hunting for a tell and start hunting for a reason. What are the incentives here? What does this person gain or lose if you believe them? Second, ask open-ended questions that make them talk and elaborate. Third, listen. Really listen to the content and check for consistency. And finally, if the stakes are high, verify. Don't accuse, just clarify with some outside proof. And here are some actual examples of what those good questions look like. Just asking someone to walk me through it is a great start. But here's a fantastic technique investigators use. Ask them to tell the story in reverse. It's way harder for someone making stuff up because it increases the cognitive load, but it's super easy for someone recalling a real memory. Even simple questions like, "What can you show me to confirm this?" shifts the whole conversation from accusation to collaboration. Now, this is a really crucial point. Our memory is not a video recorder, okay? It's reconstructive. We fill in the gaps, details can get fuzzy over time. An honest person can absolutely have inconsistencies in their story simply because memory is imperfect. So finding one inconsistency isn't a gotcha moment. It's a signal to ask more questions and get more clarity, not a final verdict. So let's zoom out for a minute. The skills for one-on-one conversations are vital, but we're also dealing with deception that's engineered on a massive scale online and in the media. And that, my friends, is a whole different kind of beast. So think of this as a little field guide to some of the common tactics you'll see out there. Be on the lookout for borrowed authority. That's when someone slaps an official-looking logo on something to make it seem legit. Or social proof, which is just a fancy way of saying everyone's doing it, so you should too. Forced binary is a huge one. It basically says you're either with us or against us, shutting down any room for nuance. But maybe the cleverest is context stripping, where they take a real fact and just twist it into a totally misleading story. And watch out for over-precision, using these really specific but totally fake numbers to sound like they've done their homework. All of this stuff adds up to what Pamela Meyer calls credibility theater. It is a performance of being legit. It looks real because it has a polished design and a super confident tone. It uses cherry-picked stats, creates a sense of emotional urgency, and often relies on vague but powerful language. The whole thing is designed to get you to just lower your guard and accept what you're seeing without double-checking. So, after all this, how do we actually use these skills without turning into these cynical, suspicious people who doubt everyone and everything? This is maybe the most important part. The goal here is wisdom, not bitterness. And this is the fundamental shift in mindset you have to make. Your job is not to catch people in lies. Your job is to create relationships, create environments where honesty is just the easiest path, where people feel safe enough to tell the truth, and where we value clarity more than we value a good performance. This quote really gets right to the heart of it. If you keep your goal as, I just want to understand, you stay warm. You can ask hard questions with respect. But the moment your goal becomes, I want to catch you, the whole thing becomes brittle and adversarial. It's about moving from confrontation to clarification.
This is the principle that ties it all together. You don't have to give up on trust. You can and you should continue to operate with a default to trust in your everyday life. But in those high-stakes situations, you pair that trust with a structured process of verification. It's not personal, it's just a wise thing to do.
At the end of the day, this whole process isn't about creating more suspicion in the world. It's about getting closer to reality. Because real, genuine, lasting trust, it can't be built on assumptions or just wishful thinking. It has to be built on the solid ground of what is actually real. And that leaves us with one final big question to think about. This isn't just an individual skill. It's a collective responsibility. How can we start building systems and cultures where honesty isn't just a virtue, but it's actually the path of least resistance? Where truth can actually emerge and breathe and thrive.